Hey, what's up everyone? This is Naeem from Bass Brothers Fishing DMV. So I've gotten a lot of questions about how I secured the decking to my boat. So today I want to show you exactly how I secure my decking to the aluminum framing. I did a lot of research around this and had a hard time really figuring out which way to go. What I came across was this, guys, and this is what I went with. These are Tex self-drilling screws. These are specifically for wood to metal applications. And this is the 1 7/16 inch length screw. And I also used some 1-inch stainless steel Weathermax screws, and I'll tell you exactly what I did with this as well, but keep this in mind. Before I actually demo it for you guys, I want to show you a couple of things that I didn't think of during my John boat conversion that I want to let you know about right off the back. So as I went to start securing my deck down, I realized one thing right away, that I didn't have enough points of contact to secure my decking to my framing. I'm going to demonstrate what I'm saying using these two pieces of aluminum because I've already secured this deck and I didn't record it. Pretend this first piece right here is part of my framing. So I literally have a piece of framing coming right down the back side of this hatch. I realized that with the hatch here, I didn't have enough space to secure the decking down to the framing. So I went behind it and riveted a small piece. It wasn't this big. I only used 3-inch pieces and I created these anchors. And all I did was cut a 3-inch piece of aluminum right here and attached it to the back of the framing. And then what I did was anchored the deck to this piece right here. This hatch right here, I know I have 3 anchors I installed. One in the top, one in the middle, and one at the rear. 3-inch pieces of angled aluminum right to the back side of the framing below the deck. So I advise that for you guys, get ahead of it as you're doing your John boat builds. Try to think through as best as you can, how will I anchor my deck down? How will I attach my deck to my framing? Do I have enough framing to do that? So what I did at different points in the boat, I know I did it here, I did it on the other side as well, and different points throughout the boat. So once I had that all done, I literally took one of these screws out, and I actually like the fact that it's this color. It matches the carpet pretty well. It's not a shiny chrome color or silver that would stand out. And what I did was just drilled one screw into each anchor point. So I'll demo this in a second, but before that, I want to share one more tip with you guys. So right here, you'll notice my framing is only about 1 inch wide, and that created a problem. Instead of trying to screw in through the top, because I only have 1 inch here, and in some cases I had close to ½ an inch, I am not as comfortable screwing in through the top. And in this case, this is where these screws came into play. These are 1-inch Weathermax screws, number 6 screws. So they're really good for boats, and you can get these from Lowe's, very easy to get. So I went with 1-inch. Primarily, you may need a 3/4 inch screw. It all depends on your setup and your situation. What I did was, instead of going in through the top, I went in from underneath. So one of the things I did some pre-planning for this, and because I only have a ½ inch to 1 inch thick piece of wood framing right here, I attached 1/16 thick C-channel metal to the framing to reinforce the strength of this framing. And here's a piece right here as an example of what it is. I bought this straight from Home Depot, and it's actually pretty cheap. I believe they were $10 each for a 8 or 9 foot piece. And this worked out like a charm, guys. I'm so happy I did this. Never tried it before, and it worked out great. The depth of this is a ½ inch, and I just happen to be using ½ inch pieces of wood. They do have a 3/4 inch piece of this as well, but the ½ inch worked out for me. It fit right on the wood with no play, no spaces in between the wood and this C-channel. Wanted to point out 2 key advantages for using the C-channel to enforce the framing around your hatch. The first one has to do with what this video is all about, securing the deck down to the framing. With having the C-channel, I came in underneath and screwed right into aluminum versus screwing into wood, which makes all the difference. Again, with this being such a small piece of wood, screwing into here, my number one fear is that I would have cracked the wood. So instead, I'm drilling straight into aluminum metal from underneath the framing. The second advantage is to be able to secure your hinge to your framing without fear of it stripping through the wood, again, because it's only a ½ inch of wood that I have to work with. So all of these screws right here are going directly into aluminum also versus going straight into metal. And that's gonna make all the difference in the long run. So it worked out pretty good. It slips right onto the wood, and I drilled out the front using the hinges that I'm gonna install as my template to know where the holes should be. And I pre-drilled all the holes into the C-channel, and I also wedged out a little bit of the hole so that the screw could fit flush into the framing. If you notice, there's a little bit of an angle underneath of this flathead screw. And then I screwed this C-channel into the actual wood framing of the deck. So hopefully you guys can see underneath here. So you can see I have 2 screws right here, and I've got a couple screws on the other side as well. And what that did, guys, was completely secure this piece of the framing down. Before I did that, whenever I lift this hatch lid up, I would see this lift up as well and just move around, and that put a lot of stress on these 2 points right here of this hatch. I was afraid that over time this would break. I will probably put out a full video on how I reinforce the framing of my hatches using C-channel, but wanted to give you guys those 2 tips. One of thinking ahead, figuring out, do you need to add additional anchors to your existing framing, and do you need to reinforce your hatches? All right, guys, let's get to the actual demo. So I went ahead and cut 2 3-inch pieces of angled aluminum. And for the anchors, guys, I didn't mention this earlier, I'm going with 1/8 thickness for the anchors because I just want to make sure that they're extra strong instead of 1/16. The framing for the rear deck, and I do have a full video on how I framed the rear decking, link at the top of the screen, make sure you check that out. I went with all 1/16 inch aluminum. Very thin stuff, but it worked out to be very strong and extremely stable. So definitely check that video out, guys, if you want your boat builds to be very light and sturdy. I'm doing this a little bit more unorthodox because when I did the front of the boat, I didn't have the decking already screwed in. I already have it screwed in here. I don't want to unscrew those to do this, even though I could, but I want to limit how much I'm unscrewing it because, again, aluminum is very soft. So what I'll do is attach this as close to the rear as I can underneath. That'll be installed right there, and then I'll drill in through the top right here. And what that will do is keep the back end of this decking down. You see I can lift it up when I lift my hatch lid. So I'm gonna go ahead and rivet it. I use 1/8 inch rivets, medium rivets, and rivet this in and then get to screwing down the deck. Again, this will be a little bit more difficult because I have all my framing, I have my hatches done. You want to plan this out and do this before you put your decking on and do all your hatch work. All right, got my holes drilled out on my anchor. I've got my anchor rivet in right here, and I'm now going to drill in through the top, secure this deck down. Also, sidebar, I also use this same screw to secure the wood flooring to my boat as well. Just make sure that the height of the rib of your boat that extends across is tall enough, because you don't want to drill one of these through the bottom of your boat. I know for my boat, this is 1.5 inches height, and then I have another 1/2 inch of wood and about 1/4 inch of carpet. With all that being said, it was more than enough space for me to safely screw this screw down and secure the flooring to my boat without drilling through the bottom of my boat. So guys, you can either eyeball it or measure it. The aluminum framing that I'm using is 1.5 inches wide, so I can measure my 1.5 inches right here. And I have another 1.5 inches for the anchor that I just riveted in. So I know I cannot screw, and I'm just grabbing stuff that's handy. Cannot screw past this file right there. One of the things you have to pay attention to, which is extremely important when using these screws, is not to drill out the aluminum below. Aluminum is metal, but it's a very soft metal. So if you go too hard with your drill, you will strip out the hole pretty easily. So you gotta take your time. First step will be to drill through the wood and break through the aluminum. And breaking through the aluminum will happen. You'll feel the screw actually jump down, and it'll jump down the length of this right here, the first part of the screw. I'm gonna demo that right now. So it goes through the wood very easily, just like that. And the next part will be to break through the aluminum, but not screw into the aluminum. All right, I just broke through. This is when you want to back up off your drill or just hand tighten it. I'm gonna go a little bit more with just a drill. I'm pushing down on the wood, make it flush. All right, and the rest I want to go with the actual hand screwdriver so I can know the exact tension I need. All right, and there you have it, guys. It is completely secure. If I pull up on the hatch, this does not lift anymore. It is secured in there. I can't even get my hands in there. And it's as simple as that, guys. You can barely even see where the screw is. So that's anchoring this side of the hatch. I also went ahead and anchored this side of the hatch as well. That way, no matter where I pull on my hatch, none of the deck will lift up. So for this part of the deck, I had to secure it to the framing a little bit different. If I use this screw into 1/16 inch aluminum metal, it will drill right through. Actually, no, because I tried it and it just won't grip the metal because it's too thin. So I moved away from this, and my solution was to go with machine screws and lock nuts. I've already done it, so sorry guys, I didn't record it. And what I used to do it is this one right here. These are stainless steel from Home Depot, number 10 screws, guys, 10, 32, 1 1/14. And again, just pick the length you need based on the thickness of your wood, your framing, and your carpet. This is what it looks like. This is a longer version. This is like a 3.5 inch screw. Just wanted to show you. I went with the round head screw, and to secure it underneath the deck, I went with nylon lock nuts, number 10, 32 as well. So what I did was I originally tried to use this and it didn't work. I went behind it with a machine screw, pushed it right in, and secured it underneath. So this went right down in here, right here, and you can barely see it. It actually came out really good, and secured it with a lock nut. So that's another route you can take in securing your deck. Primary way, again, I went is with this screw right here, which made life a lot easier. And then for the 1/16 inch framing, I went with machine screws and lock nuts, number 10. You gotta make sure they're small so that you don't see them through the top of your carpet. There you have it, guys. Wanted to share something quick and easy, but a very important step in your John bolt conversion. I did a full conversion on this. If you guys don't know or new to the channel, there's a link in the playlist below, as well as you can click this link at the top of the screen to see the complete John bolt to bass boat conversion from start to finish, in as much detail as I could provide, guys. I really wanted to provide something that people could get answers to questions that I couldn't when I was researching a conversion like this. So go ahead, complete your builds, get your deck secure, get out there fishing. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, guys. We got a lot of stuff going on, having a lot of fun on this channel. We appreciate all the support we've gotten from each and every one of you. As always, stay safe out there. We'll see you next time.